Well, welcome to today's Geospatial-Next talk. We're going to get ambitious today. We're going to explain blockchain using a geospatial example. Now, this is Geospatial-Next projecting into the future, but I think we have to be aware of what's on the horizon and coming towards us very, very quickly. So let's dive in. So let me whet your appetite for this conversation. I'm going to show you a short video. This guy that's frozen here is Mark Cuban. He owns the Dallas Mavericks, which are a basketball team, and he's got something very interesting to say around this whole blockchain area that is very relevant to geospatial. Let me just play the clip.
Yeah, I mean, look, the whole collectible thing is just proof of concept for smart contracts. Period, end story. Because the real money and the real opportunity is going to come from business applications. Things like DocuSign, forget about it. It's going to change, right? Insurance applications. I'll give you the perfect example. So there's a company, and I forget their name, that they have an insurance application that always just checks out an oracle for the National Weather Service for temperature and precipitation. So for the Mavericks, we had some crazy weather in Dallas a little over a month ago where it was like below zero and we had a few inches of snow and everything closed. So I could have bought some insurance on a smart contract that said, if the temperature in Dallas goes below zero and we get more than 2 inches of precipitation, then pay me, how much does it cost, and you pay me this amount. Well, that's completely different than traditional insurance because it's all driven by a smart contract. It just naturally checks every 30 minutes the National Weather Service. And if it clicks and it's below zero and more than 2 inches of snow, it just paid right to my wallet. That's the type of application you're going to see more and more of. And then you're starting to...
So let's just stop it there. Lots of terminology threw at us there. Smart contracts, oracles. I think you may have mentioned the word blockchain in there as well. That's the fundamental part of this. So that was intriguing. Remember, our focus is on geospatial, so we'll come back to that. Let me just switch websites and show you this. So this is actually the AccuWeather website, and I have a suspicion that what Mark Cuban was talking about there may have been a service from AccuWeather. And sorry, I'm pointing the wrong way. In this article, let me just read to you what I've got highlighted. AccuWeather is bringing its world-leading weather data to blockchains by launching a Chainlink node. So again, there's more terminology there. Chainlink node. How does all this stuff fit together? Let's demystify that a little bit, and then let's tie that back into the geospatial world. So let's jump to the next slide. Okay, well, I hope you're still with me on this journey. So let's dive in a little bit deeper and talk about the geospatial blockchain. So we're going to unravel what we've just seen in the last couple of examples and try and understand some of the terminology used. So a blockchain. A blockchain is a ledger. Think about accounting. A smart contract is a piece of code which sits on the blockchain. So think programming language. It's simply code which satisfies a specific set of requirements, a contract. It's fixed. A decentralized application you can think of as an app. Now this is a company which is building an insurance application, for example, talking about what Mark Cuban was just talking about there. So they've built an application which interacts with a smart contract which sits on the blockchain. A family wants to buy insurance. They will go to that provider, and I'm going to add a little bit more terminology. These will sit in networks like the Ethereum network. So this is almost, and I don't want to get too into the weeds here, but the Ethereum network is a new network. So you can go look up apple.eth, and there's going to be a site there. That's actually a URL. So it's going to sit in that world of Ethereum. In this case, that network. In this case, this is a DApp. That you can see a little ETH in the corner of it. It sits in that network. That is like a basket of apps, almost like the Apple App Store, which are apps which have been built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. I hope you're staying with me here. So a family buys an insurance policy through a decentralized app owned by a company, which is a smart contract on the blockchain. Now, a smart contract is just an agreement with that family. Let's imagine that scenario that Mark Cuban was talking about, where there's an event that's changing. A smart contract cannot communicate with external services to understand if an event has happened. That's where Chainlink come in. Now, Chainlink are one of a number of companies that are creating these nodes, and this is my interpretation of how this workflow works. This may be slightly off just in a couple of places, but this is how I think of it. So people can correct me by commenting on the video, but this is how I think of it. So Chainlink are nodes. Chainlink extend smart contracts, making them hybrid smart contracts. That means they can actually communicate with the outside world. So far, and I'm going to stay with me here, this is a Web3 world. We're living in this Web3 world, which is underlined by the blockchain. But what a node does, a Chainlink node, for example, is it allows you to make a communication into traditional Web 2 services. So AccuWeather have got services out there, and this is where the geospatial component comes in. So they've got sensors on the ground. They're understanding if the temperature has fallen below a certain level, if there's a certain amount of precipitation there. So they have location-based sensors which can provide feedback against that hybrid smart contract. What happens when that agreement is in place is the hybrid smart contract makes regular calls out to that service, in this case AccuWeather, to find out whether that threshold has been reached. And again, as Mark Cuban pointed out, as soon as that threshold has been reached, that's paid out to the family that have got the contract. So there's no middleman in this. Did I lose you? Hopefully I didn't. But that is an example of a workflow, a geospatial blockchain workflow. Where does the geospatial piece come in? Think AccuWeather. And you can add other services on top of this, so we can get very complicated here. But my point about this and the future talks I'll be making is or doing is that location-based data and services, and there's no map here, are going to become increasingly more valuable. And these event-driven occurrences, like a weather event with an insurance application, will be one example of many others to come. So I'll try and highlight some of these examples over time. This will become a much bigger deal over time, and I suspect, actually I don't suspect, having watched the Web 2 as Web 1 and Web 2 evolve, this is Web 3. This is undoubtedly going to happen, and I encourage you to watch these videos and to watch others that are talking about this, because this is the world that's coming. Thanks for joining us on the Spatial-Next channel. We're focused here on understanding the future of geospatial. That's both how we get to mainstream adoption of the technology and data, and how we start using blockchain and crypto to move things forward. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.